Okay, so here we are. This is the Tama Imperialstar Bop Kit in the Hairline Blue finish unboxing video. And I just got this today. I've never done an unboxing video before. I think they're kind of weird, but hey, I figured what the hell. I have one, or I just got a new kit. This is the first drum set, new, that I've purchased, well, personally, that I paid for ever. The only other brand new set I got, my mother bought for me when I was 18 years old. And I got rid of that in my not so intelligent days of partying a little bit too hard. But I always regretted getting rid of it. It was a great set. The one that she bought me was a Ludwig, but it was really nice and really cool looking. But this popped up on a Black Friday sale, and I thought it was really, really cool and a really amazing deal. And Tama, I always liked their drums. I always thought they made really high quality stuff, their hardware and everything. So I ordered it, and it showed up very quickly from Musician's Friend. And I'm going to go ahead and start opening this. Okay, so I just took off the first layer of cardboard, and yeah, well, there's the rack tom. You can see it all wrapped up in there. And it looks like it's already assembled. I kind of thought everything would be in pieces, so that's cool. Let's see what we got here. We got a box that says snare drum. There's some heads. I already ordered brand new heads for it too. I just sort of assumed these weren't going to be that great, even though I really don't know. They might be okay. So if they are, then I'll use them first and then switch them when they get worn out. Okay. So there's the floor tom and bass drum, all packed away and neatly there. Looks like they're packed pretty well. This box looks like it was kind of manhandled by UPS a little bit though, so hopefully there's no damage to anything. So I'm going to pause it again and try to unpack a little bit more and then come back. Okay, I've got the toms out, and there's the rack tom, and this is the floor tom. And this wrap finish is absolutely gorgeous. You can't really, the video I'm sure isn't really doing it justice, but I got the Hairline Blue finish, as I said, and it is just really cool, really, really cool looking. This is an interesting feature. I just pulled out the floor tom here, and here's the leg holders. And I've never seen anything like this. It's like, basically they really limited the amount of metal that is actually touching the drum, which is pretty cool. You know, I would think that that's the idea, is it's going to increase the resonance. And also, I know with these kits, they had shrunk down the size of the lugs as well. And again, you know, just making less contact of metal to the drum. And I really like the lug design on these because they remind me of the old vintage Star kits. Like before they were even called Tama, they were called Star. And there was the lug that they used was very similar. I actually have a bag of those from an old Star kit that I had, or a part of a Star kit that I had, and I took the lugs off of it because it was in really bad shape. But yeah, I could even show those if I can find them on the camera, and they look very similar. So packed in the drums, they have the floor tom rims kind of sandwiched on top of one another. And there's one, actually no, there's no head on this at all. And I think the heads are over there in that stack. The rack tom was fully assembled. And it looks like the bass drum isn't assembled either. So I'm going to pause it again and start working on this and get a little more together and then come back. Okay, so here's the snare drum. And this thing is just gorgeous. It really, really is beautiful looking snare. The finish, I can't believe how cool this thing is. And another interesting feature, again, kind of like the floor tom legs, if you look at the snare drum lugs, they are lifted in the middle so they don't actually make contact all the way with the snare. So that's cool. I mean, I'm not sure what all it will do or how much it'll affect the sound, but I like the design. It looks very nice, has a very vintage look overall on the snare, and I really dig that. Another thing I wanted to note, the packaging. Very minimal waste, even though, you know, it's a lot of cardboard, but this is it's a whole drum set. And there was really only these two tiny little pieces of styrofoam in there, and it was just intelligently packed in the box to protect it in the way that they had everything put in there. And you know, so far everything looks totally fine. Even with the box, looked like it was handled pretty roughly, but I don't see any damage to the drums at all. Well, I haven't unwrapped the bass drum yet, but I'm sure it's fine. Everything looks really good. So I'm going to continue. I'm going to break down these boxes and unwrap the bass drum and try to assemble everything, and then I'll get back. Okay, so I just finished the assembly of the bass drum, and much like all the other drums, this thing is incredibly well made. It looks great. Really amazing deal. It's an 18-inch kick, but it's weird. It actually looks larger to me. I guess, you know, it's just maybe because I have it in my tiny apartment right now, it seems larger. But at one point in my life, I had a kit with an 18-inch floor tom, and I actually can't believe that I was playing a floor tom this large. But yeah, so it came with these, they call them Tama AccuTune hoops, which are basically like hardened plastic. But what's cool about these is they don't have any tension rod, like traditional claw type things on them that are kind of a pain in the butt when you're changing heads. They fall off and give you all kinds of trouble. But these do not have that. They just go right through, the lugs go right through the rim. And I think that'll be nice. At first when I saw that online, I wasn't sure about it, but I actually think I like it. The only thing that bugged me a bit was this little sticker. It's basically telling you which or where to put the hoop or how it should be aligned on the drum, which is fine, you know, that's great, but the way that they made this sticker, it seems to be incredibly hard to peel off, and so I'm gonna have to work on that a little bit later. I mean, I definitely don't want that on the drum when I start playing it because it looks kind of stupid. So I mean, aside from that, it's not really that big a deal. They just could have done a more discreet label, I think, or something that just pulled off easily with like a piece of tape. Something that's not like, you know, so permanently attached. Also, something that's very cool is on the other side. Well, you'll see another sticker there, which that one I don't mind as much because nobody will see that. But there's this awesome little bass drum lift. And let me just turn the drum over so you can see this a little better. This thing, and this just comes built right on the set. So when you fold up the drum, you just lay that down, and it, you know, gets out of the way. And then when you're using the drum, you just open this up, and then you can attach your pedal right there. One thing though, I do use a Speed King pedal, so I know that that probably is not going to work on this. I'm going to have to find something to make that a little fatter. I mean, the Speed King is just, it's not really a fault of the drum. It's more the Speed King design. They never really worked well even on metal hoops. You usually had to fold like a piece of cardboard or something on there to make them work. I have another pedal too. I may start using that. But I like my Speed King quite a bit, so I'll probably find a way to make it work. Or maybe I'll buy a Tama pedal, I don't know. Anyway, the heads, they look, well, they look okay actually. They have like, especially on the kick drum, they have like, there's like an attack head that looks like this, which I wonder if that's what these are, where they have the built-in muffler ring around the edge. And those actually sound quite good, at least the attack ones do. I'm not sure about, you know, the Tama version, or if these are attack heads. I mean, they look a lot like them, they may be, but we'll see. The only thing with attack heads, they generally don't last quite as long as Remos, but they usually sound pretty good. So I may leave that on there for a bit. We'll see. I have one thing I really don't like, and again, this has nothing to do with the design of the drum set, well, a little bit, but I've never been a fan of ebony heads, especially on a resonant side of a kick drum. They just make me think of hair metal, and so, you know, I don't really like that. So I already ordered just a coated head to put on the front here. It's not a logo head, but I'm gonna probably do that. We'll see. I may use that as the batter and keep this one on for a little while. But in part 2 of this video, I'll have all that put on there. That's after when I get the cases and the heads and actually have this set up in my studio. But yeah, that's the bass drum. So for now, I'm going to sign off again and try to get the rest of this put together. Okay, so I have the bass drum assembled with the rack tom here, but that's not really what I wanted to show you yet. What I wanted to show you was the heads that came with the set. The floor tom it was the least assembled probably out of all of them. And well, actually no, the bass drum was. But anyway, the heads for the floor tom aren't on yet. And so I got to get a good look at them. And so basically this is the batter head. It's just a Tama branded head, but it feels fairly thick, like almost like ambassador weight to me. It's a single ply, and that's good actually for me as a resonant head. I don't really like very thin heads as resonance like this. This is the one they give you for the resonant heads, and it is just kind of ridiculously thin. Seems even thinner than a Diplomat to me. So I don't think I'm going to be using these at all, these resonant heads. What I think I'm going to do is take the batters off of both the rack tom and the floor tom and put them on the resonant side of the toms, and then just wait until I get the heads that I ordered to use as the batter heads. Yeah, couldn't think of that word. But yeah, so just wanted to show you that the heads, you know, it's a very bargain, very good deal of a drum set, so you can't expect everything to be perfect, you know. So like I said, that's not bad. At least, you know, the resonants are good, or the batters that are intended to be batters could be good resonance. So that's probably what I'll do on these. Okay, assembling the floor tom here, and I just wanted to show you the bearing edges, and these are very nice. They look like they're cut really well. They're not really sharp bearing edges like some drums, which actually I'm glad about that, because these, to me, I mean, I'm not sure the exact specifications of these, but to me these look more like a vintage style bearing edge cut, which is great because that's exactly what I want. That's like the sound that I like and what I want my drums to sound like usually. And so another thing to note, you know, these drums are 100% poplar, which is cool. It's just a very light colored wood, so you know, if you're expecting to see some fancy wood grain in there, you don't really get that with poplar, but that doesn't bother me. That's just how poplar is. And for those of you that don't know, the ever popular, or was ever popular, Pearl Export drum set was made out of poplar. And say what you will about those drums, but I heard some Pearl Exports sound fantastic. You look at, you know, a perfect example is look at Damon Che from Don Caballero. He always played a Pearl Export drum kit, and he got amazing sounds out of that thing. So poplar is fine with me. I like poplar. It sounds very warm. I had an Export at 1.2, and it was very warm and big and full sounding. And so I expect these drums to be similar, even though they're, you know, they're much smaller sizes. So I think that it'll translate to more of a jazz type thing. Okay, so here she is. She's all put together, and the snare drum's up there. I don't have my stands here. They're all at the studio. So part 2 of this video, you'll see it all set up with the snare and cymbals and everything, and actually hear me playing it. But by then, there'll be some new heads on it. I just put these on basically just to get it all assembled and get it ready for when I get the heads. Another cool feature that wasn't really mentioned in the advertisement for it is on the tom arm here, which, by the way, this is incredibly well made. I mean, it's absolutely rock solid. Like all other Tama hardware, or Tama, however you say it. I say both. Sometimes I say Tama, sometimes I say Tama. But all of their hardware is very solid. It always has been. Like, ever since I first started playing drums when I was just a kid, all the best hardware I ever owned was always made by Tama. They just seem to do that really well. But anyway, I got off track. What's cool is it's got this nifty little extra holder here. If you wanted to add like a cymbal boom arm to do a ride or something, you could do that, or even add like an auxiliary drum or something, which is a nice option. It's a nice little added bonus feature, and like I said, I didn't it didn't advertise having that, and I didn't expect it to be there. I don't know if I'll use it, but it's still cool. If I ever want to, I have the option. Yeah, I mean, I probably won't for a cymbal, just because, I don't know, there's something about when you have a ride on a drum, tends to vibrate kind of strangely, and I've never really liked that. So I'll probably just use, I have some flat bass Ludwig stands, I'll probably use those with it. So yeah, looking forward to getting the rest of the heads on here and hearing how this baby sounds. It looks really cool, and it's built really well. Seems like a very high quality set, made in China. Tama has a factory in China now. They're not outsourced, I do know that. Tama has their own factory there where they make their drums, so that's cool. I mean, you know that it's going to be a consistent quality when you buy a Tama kit. And yeah, it just looks really nice. I'm really happy with it. I mean, at least so far, having not played it yet. But I'm fairly confident it's going to be really nice when I play it too. And there's those cool floor tom leg brackets again. I really like that. That's a really cool design. The finish looks great. The wrap is beautiful. I've never seen this wrap on another brand drum set. It's kind of like, it looks almost like the old Strata finishes. I think that's what they called them, from like Rogers and stuff like that, but not exactly. It's unique, and that is also very cool. I know they make this kit in like a red sparkle, and I believe a gray sparkle as well, and all three of them look really nice. So that's it. Part 1, unboxed. Tama Imperialstar Bop Kit. Thanks for watching. I just wanted to give one other quick little update. The Speed King does actually work on the drum riser. I'm actually surprised. I didn't think that it would, but it's designed in such a way that it raises the middle part of the metal. It's kind of hard to see there, but it just works. That's all I need to say, really. You know, I don't know how to explain it, but it actually works. So that's great. Looks like I can use my Speed King with this kit. Much excite.